Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you're learning German. You've probably already figured out it can be a little tricky. Well, today, we are going to dive into one of the biggest hurdles for beginners, how to make words plural. But seriously, don't worry. By the end of this, you're going to have one simple strategy to make it all click.
Think about English for a second. Making a noun plural is usually super straightforward. You just stick an S on the end, right? One dog, two dogs. One book, two books. It's so simple, we don't even think about it.
Now, German likes to keep things interesting. Instead of just one simple rule, it's got a bunch of different ways to make a noun plural. It can really feel like a puzzle with a whole lot of different pieces.
Okay, so let's jump into this. Now, the goal today is not to perfectly memorize every single plural form in the entire German language. I mean, that would be impossible. The real goal is to start seeing the patterns, and most importantly, to learn the one single habit that is going to save you so many headaches down the road.
A good way to think about these plural endings is like different families. Once you get to know them, they're way less intimidating. So let's start with two of the biggest and most common families, the one that adds an "e" and the one that adds "e".
So this first pattern is one you're going to see all the time. A ton of German nouns just add an "a" at the end to become plural. So for example, der Tisch becomes die Tische. Easy enough. But take a close look at those other two examples. See what's different about them?
Yep, that's it. See those two little dots sitting on top of the vowel? That's called an umlaut, and it actually changes how the vowel sounds. The A sound in Platz becomes more of an E sound in PlätzE. The in Frucht becomes in FrüchtE. Just think of it like a little signal from the word letting you know, hey, I'm plural now. All right, let's meet our next family, the ending. This one's also super common, especially for neuter nouns. Now here's the key thing to remember. When a word adds to become plural, it pretty much always gets an umlaut too. See how Mann becomes Männer and Haus becomes Häuser? Let's try saying them out loud. Ready? Der Mann, die Männer. Das Haus, die Häuser.
All right, you're doing awesome. Let's meet two more plural families. These next two are really distinct, and I think one of them is going to feel very, very familiar to you.
Okay, this one is a big deal. A massive number of nouns, especially feminine nouns, take an N or an N ending. This is honestly one of the most reliable patterns you'll find. If you see a feminine noun, there is a very good chance its plural is going to end in N or N. Okay, time for a little practice. I'll say the words, you repeat right after me. Ready? Die Woche, die Wochen. Good, that's the week, the weeks. Let's do the next one. Die Schule, die Schulen. And that's the school, the schools. You know, saying these things out loud really helps build that muscle memory. And here it is, a pattern that should look super familiar. Just like in English, some German words just add an S. This is really common for words that are kind of borrowed from other languages, like das Auto and das Hotel. It's a nice little break for us English speakers, isn't it?
Okay, now for our last group, and this one, well, this one can be a little surprising. What if I told you that sometimes to make a word plural in German, nothing happens? Or at least not what you'd think.
Just look at this. The word for one room is das Zimmer, and the word for more than one room is die Zimmer. The noun itself doesn't change at all. The only clue that it's plural is the article changing to die. Same thing for das Gebäude becoming die Gebäude.
And here's the other surprising twist. Sometimes no ending is added, but you get that little umlaut again. The only difference between one mother, die Mutter, and multiple mothers, die Mutter, is that little vowel change inside the word. It's subtle, I know, but it's a really important pattern to get used to seeing.
Okay, let's just pause for a second. Deep breath. We've just seen 5 different families of plurals. And you're probably thinking, whoa, this is a lot. How am I supposed to know if a word adds an ES or an ER or an N or S or nothing at all? And you know what? That is a perfectly fair question.
And the answer is, you don't have to guess. Honestly, trying to memorize a bunch of complex rules about which nouns take which endings, that's just a recipe for frustration. There is a much, much simpler way. A single trick that changes the whole game.
So this right here, this is the most important part of this entire explainer. This is the one strategy, the one simple habit that will make learning German nouns and their plurals feel almost effortless over time. We're going to call it the German noun trio.
And this is your new rule. From this day forward, you are never going to learn just a single German noun by itself. Instead, you will always learn 3 things together as one single piece of information: the article, the singular form, and the plural form.
So here's how that works. Let's say you learn the word for table. First, you find the full singular noun, der Tisch. Then, you immediately look up its plural, die TischE. And finally, you learn them as one single chunk of information, der Tisch, die TischE. It's not just one word anymore, it's a phrase.
So from now on, instead of just learning Tisch, you're going to learn der Tisch, die TischE. Instead of just learning Haus, you learn das Haus, die Häuser. Not just Woche, but die Woche, die Wochen. See how that works? You're bundling all the information you need right together from the very start. So how do you actually do this? Well, when you write down your new vocabulary, use 3 columns. One for the article, one for the singular word, and one for the plural. If you're using flashcards, put the article and the singular on the front, like das Auto, and then put the plural on the back, die Autos. And the most important thing, always say the full phrase out loud, das Auto, die Autos. Look, I know it might feel like you're learning more information for every single word, but I promise you, this one tiny change in how you study is going to save you so much time and confusion later on. You are literally building a solid foundation right from day one. You can absolutely do this. You've got this.
So that's it. That's the secret. Stop trying to memorize a million rules and just start building this one simple habit. The only question now is, what's going to be the first German noun trio that you learn today? Whatever you pick, you're on the right path now to mastering German nouns. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.